So I don't believe the United States is a racist country. If you disagree, you're more than welcome to change my mind.
To a new lawsuit from the family of a young Wisconsin man who died from an asthma attack after the price of his inhaler soared nearly $500. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky has the story. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, George. His family says Cole Schmitnick died of an asthma attack because he could no longer afford his inhaler after being told it would cost him 8 times as much. Cole Schmitnick was just starting his adult life, working at a truck dealership in Green Bay.
He just was really living large in his own mind and loving everything he was doing.
His parents say the 22-year-old lived most of his life with asthma that he treated with an Advair inhaler costing $66 a month. But when Cole went to fill his prescription in January 2024, his parents say his local Walgreens told him his inhaler was no longer covered by his insurance and would cost him $539.
He made $19 an hour. He worked full time. He had his own insurance. However, he couldn't afford $539.19. He was not given an alternative.
Cole left with only an albuterol inhaler used for emergencies. Without the medication he relied on for a decade, his family's lawsuit says Cole repeatedly struggled to breathe and 5 days later had a severe asthma attack and began to asphyxiate.
Walking into that ICU and seeing him like that, there's no way to prepare a parent for that.
The family's lawsuit says he never regained consciousness and several days later was pronounced dead. His family saying Cole was forced to choose rent over his medicine. They're now suing for negligence, arguing Optum RX, a subsidiary of United Health Group, should have given Cole advance notice, and Walgreens should have contacted Cole's doctor or offered him a more affordable workaround.
We'd like to see them change their policies and practices internally to avoid this.
Walgreens said due to pending litigation, we are not commenting. Optum RX said Cole's case was handled consistent with industry practice and the patient's insurance plan design. Starting just last month, the 3 largest manufacturers of inhalers, including GlaxoSmithKline, which makes the Advair that Cole used, agreed to cap the cost of inhalers at $35. Sadly, though, guys, that's too late.
So it won't happen with inhalers anymore, but what if it happens with some kind of other device?
We talked to experts in our medical unit about this, George, and they said talk to your provider to see if there's an alternative. Check online for a discounted site. There are a number of apps that will do that. And reach out to the manufacturer, which will sometime offer rebates or help for those who just can't afford their medication.
Yeah. Good RX.
Yeah.
Good RX is an app to use.
Yeah. Thank you, Aaron.
We have money to fund war but not feed the poor. And I think that's a really clear line of how we continue to continue this cycle of oppression both in America and overseas, and to draw clear lines or parallels between what is happening. You know, this country was founded on a genocide. In addition to that, we're a country that was built on the backs of black folk who then are now disenfranchised by that same system that they helped to build up to benefit the people that are continuing these cycles of oppression. When we talk about the systems of oppression that exist in this country, it's when you have the Israeli occupation force that is using the same tactics on Palestinians that the US police are using on the same black people here in America. When we're talking about systems of oppression, we're talking about how we cut off aid through UNRWA, but we're not afraid to send aid to Ukraine because 1 are brown and 1 are not seen as brown. These are systems of oppressions that we're continuing to cycle through here in America, and ensuring that we're pushing those overseas. When you have the President of the United States of America that goes on national television and questions the death toll of Palestinians that have been reported by credible sources, and reported by our own people who are on WhatsApp and actually receiving messages from family members that have lost 10, 20, 30, a death toll of up to 90 family members, wiping out lineages of people and families, and you have the President of the United States denying these deaths. It creates a situation in which people struggle to relate to the Palestinians and the struggles that they're going through. And it's a tactic, you know, when you are able to dehumanize a person and someone is talking about their struggle and you have never struggled yourself, it's hard for you to empathize and to sympathize.
And that's why I think this United story and the DEI story hits so hard, because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits, or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off. And I feel better now thinking about that.
No, I mean, like, you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created.